and spend time with my family, you know. So to be honest, this family is the strongest support system that you will ever have, because they are going to be with you through thick and thin, no matter what. And the friends, I feel this is the best way to have a great set of friends when you know that they are there with you when the chips are down, and when you're down in the dumps, they are a keeper. So, yeah, I feel this is what I follow whenever I'm under pressure, and there is a lot of expectation.
Such a lovely answer. Round of applause. After After hearing you speak so passionately about family and friends, I know I can't be your family, but I'd love to be your friend, Shreyas. I would still love to just ask, because you've been so honest and vulnerable, I'd still love to ask just one further question. Because I was talking about failures, and in your eyes, on a day where you feel you have not performed as well as you wanted to, and you have failed, is there, again, you've spoken of meditation, mindfulness, is there something you do on those days, you know, where you feel like you have let yourself down?
So whenever I realize that I haven't performed to my expectation, I just try to learn what I did wrong. I try to acknowledge, I feel it is important to have self-compassion, where you acknowledge yourself at times. On your achievements, you enjoy tiny occasions wherever you go for practice with your teammates, spend that time, quality time basically, rather than spending a lot of time and distracting yourself. And I go out for holidays at times to completely unwind myself, as I mentioned to one of my friends over here right now, that when I'm not playing, it is hard for me to watch TV and see other players play. So I like to, play PlayStation on some other sport. I love football, love watching football, and I try to, see to it that I'm completely focused on something else, but not cricket. So this is how I try to cope with, my failure especially. I don't like to call it failure because you always learn. You keep learning from new things. So either you have strength or there are limitations. So there are no weaknesses.
Love that. What a fantastic POV. And I love what you spoke about self-compassion, because I feel like, I think we speak a lot about kindness and to others. We forget to talk about kindness to ourselves, and I think that's a very important part of what is empathetic leadership. Not just being kind as a leader to your team, but also making sure you are prioritizing your own happiness. And coming to that, again, as I said, I think I've been very inspired, and I find it so admirable, Anand, that RPG Group has all these incredible policies, which prioritize the well-being of employees at the workplace. And I would just, as one of the leaders of this group, I would love for you to tell us what are these initiatives that, at least a couple of initiatives, if you could tell us, that you have put in place to ensure employee well-being. And if you could also tell us why you thought that was important. I think it'll be really great for the other leaders over here to hear not just the initiative, but the thought behind it.
Sure. So I think one is there are a lot of similarities between Gen Z and even Gen X, Gen Y, but I'd say that what are the differences? And the few things that come to my mind, I'd say, are that Gen Z is really a very purposeful group of people. They want to work in companies that do more than just make money. They want to work in companies that are impacting the world, making the world a better place, and they're doing something meaningful. So I think that is one thing that really differentiates them, and one of the things that we try and do in our companies, as I shared about our vision of unleashing talent and touching lives, that's part of our vision. Our vision in CEAT, which is the tire company, is about making mobility safer and smarter every day. So it's not only that we're looking for profits, but also how do we make our customers' lives better, and that's what I think is very important for Gen Z. The other thing is they're looking for a more holistic life in comparison to maybe the previous generations. For them, as you touched upon, mental well-being is very important, physical well-being is important, work is important, family, relationships, all of that is important. And I think that comes into culture and not only policies, but what do we believe in when we speak to our people, that in the end, we believe a lot in giving them freedom. So we're not going to monitor how many hours of work you're working every day. what days are you coming to work. But as long as you're delivering your work and you're doing what is expected out of you, that's good enough. Whether you do it at home and you come to work at 12 o'clock because your mother's not well, or you, you've taken a late flight in and you want to come in a little late, and that's fine. And just kind of having that trust itself makes all the difference. So these are just some cultures and policies and beliefs that we have. I also think that the Gen Z really looks at valuing diversity, inclusion, that element of individualism that makes each person special. That you're a creative person or you're an analytical person and so on and so forth. So how do we appreciate that and not have those bureaucracies that are there in the system, that I'm a senior manager, you're a junior manager, so you listen to me, but I will value you because you are special, because you have that creative ability that I may not have, and so on. So just kind of having that additional respect at a human level becomes important. So I think these are some things that we really value. And what we've done differently is a lot of these policies have been recommended by the Gen Zers. Yeah. So a lot of them, we have a team, they recommend policies and then they kind of get approved by the larger team in a way. So for example, we found in the case of sustainability, the senior people were less passionate about sustainability than, say, the younger Gen Zers. So they kind of have formed the group who have taken on the mantle of making the company and group more sustainable, because they're just so much more passionate about that.
That's incredible. Can we get a round of applause for this, please? And as I said, it's been so amazing that a lot of the things that you're already doing at the workplace is also the outcome of the report that we've done. So if if you get a hands on that report, there is something called the Commandments of Happiness, broken down as HAPPINESS from the Gen Z. We've heard the Gen Z across the country, and we have come up with these commandments. And I think if you implement them at those workplaces, like Anand already has, like the RPG group already does, you also try to do the same. I think it would really make for better and more positive workplaces for young people. And I think that's the note I want to end on. If there's I know you've given a long answer on that, Anand, in any case, but if there's one thing that you think makes for a happy workplace, if all of us can kind of answer that, what is that one thing that you think makes for a happy workplace?
I would say freedom. So just kind of trusting people and giving them freedom to work how they like.
Fantastic. Trusting in people. I think you should note these down. These are really important things. Please note them down. You can also tweet them out, hashtag. There's all these people over here who you can tag as well. Feel free to do that. Niharika, one thing that makes for a happy workplace.
Happy employees, just keep them
Workplace,
happy, right?
just workplace. Yeah, your workplace.
My workplace?
Yeah, what is that one
Just
thing?
me happy, because it's just me, myself, and I. So if I'm happy, my workplace is happy. We love that for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, I meant your industry, but yeah, that also completely
Oh, my
works.
industry. I don't think. That's a therapy session. Never mind.
Well, okay, I think trying to keep yourself happy is what makes for a
Yes.
happy workplace. I think
Inner
that's a good
peace.
answer. Inner peace, absolutely. Shreyas?
For me, it's all about strong bonding. So fun and enjoyable moments that fosters the sense of camaraderie. Yes.
Love it. Strong bonding at the workplace.
Yeah.
Navya?
I would say equality and kindness.
Absolutely, Ryan. Absolutely. Equality and kindness. I'll again add, I think, just listening to young people, which is what we've also tried to do with the report. If you just listen as much as possible in the workplaces, you can absolutely create positive environments. Can we have a round of applause to all these incredible people over here who have given their time and efforts? I just, is the other question, and Madonna, are you going to be doing the Q&As, or are we going to be?
You can take.
If anyone has questions for the people over here,
Can we have a
please feel
mic
free
in
to
the
ask.
audience? Thank you so much, Nikhil, Niharika, Anand, Shreyas, and Navya for sharing your thoughts. But doesn't end here. I would like to just sum up by saying happiness is truly a state of mind, right? It's not about waiting for that big moment, that big dream to be fulfilled, that you be happy. I would say enjoy the journey and not just the destination. With that, we open the floor for Q&A. Can I have a mic in the audience, please?
We'd love, leaders, but as well as young people. If anyone has questions, please feel free to ask.
So could you stand?
Yeah.
We'd see you. Yes.
Hi, I'm Sam Balsara. As I was listening to all the wonderful thoughts, my thinking has been that you have to learn and train your mind to be happy. Otherwise, nothing in the world is going to make you happy. In whatever state you are, you can easily lull yourself into believing that you are unhappy. I'd like to hear, the panelists' view on this, or also if your research threw this up. Because I think it's a very essential condition to your state of well-being.
Indeed it is.
Would young
Anyone
people you would
would
like
like
to
to
go?
answer
Navya, what do you think about this?
Why am I being chosen as the
He's
first
talking
one?
about he's talking about a mindset that he's had. They're talking about young people in the
Everyone
research.
here is young.
Niharika, Navya, you're the
I'm
youngest
just
of the
a
lot.
sad person, so you can take. I mean, at least what I agree with you actually, and I think we've all probably at some point in our lives been told that we have to train ourselves to be happy. And maybe for the longest time I did that as well, but I think what changed for me is just gratitude. I think gratitude for very small things in life, gratitude for having a roof over your head and food on a plate, just the bare minimum that we're able to have that on a daily basis. I think that just, being more grateful makes me more happy because it makes me realize that I have a lot more, and often we are in this race of just trying to succeed and gain things, and we actually forget all that we already have. So I think that gratitude would be my answer.
It's a great answer. That's why we go to you, see? We go to the youngest people because they're
I'm taking
smartest.
Shreyas's idea and work well under pressure.
Anyone else would like to add to that? Anand, Shreyas, Niharika, anyone?
No, just to add, I absolutely agree. I think happiness is something that can be learned. I think it's through a set of possibly practices that one can do, which can lead to it, whether it's, physical health. If you work out 3 times a day, 3 times a week, you'll be a happier person. If you practice gratitude, you'll be a happier person. But I don't think you can always be happy. We are all human and we have to forgive ourselves if sometimes we are jealous or we are unhappy or we are sad. That's also part of life. So I think it can be learned through some practices. Mindfulness, so if you combine some of this in your day-to-day living, I feel you can be happy.
Thank you so much, Anand. And from the report, I'd just like to add, I think a lot of young people recognize this, but they also recognize that there are a lot of external factors that that depend upon whether you can be happy or not, and which is why they want the surroundings also to recognize this and acknowledge that happiness is not possibly just an individual state of mind, it's also a collective. The community needs to come together to kind of make it happen, and that's what the research is trying to make happen, that can the workplace become a community where everyone's supporting each other and trying to make each other happy. But thank you for that lovely question. Do we have anyone else who has a question? Maybe a young person I'd love to hear from. Yeah, the young woman at the front, yeah.
Yes, we have a mic right there.
So, hi, I'm Pooja. And often in workplaces, we see that it's not just one generation which is working. It's an amalgamation of generation. You have Gen Z and you have Gen Y. And every generation has their own set of characteristics, which sometimes when you speak something or when any generation has an idea, you're lost in there's loss in translation. So how do you bridge that gap between generations where everybody is happy and nobody feels left out? How do you bridge that gap?
Such a great question. Who'd like to take that? Such a fantastic question.
Yeah, I would like to answer that because as a cricketer, when you get into the team, you have seniors around all the time. And whatever, all the achievements, all the accolades they have had in their life. So the best way to gel along and build that camaraderie is just to go out for a coffee with them. And try to ask them questions, because if a senior is around you, when you ask them question and try to learn few things from them, they also feel special from within. And that way you can learn a lot of things which you haven't noticed while you're working. Even though you're a Gen Z, there is a lot of experience out there which you want to embrace, and that will only come through a lot of conversations which you'll be getting involved in with your seniors. So always respect your seniors and see to it that you have your good camaraderie with them and build that strong sense of belief around.
Such a fantastic answer. If I may ask, because I'm curious, who was the first person in the Indian team, Shreyas, that you asked out for a coffee to learn from?
To be honest, it was coach. Coach, yeah. Because Rahul Dravid is a coach. And he's always up for brainstorming. No matter whatever the occasion is, when you call him, you can have an open chat about whatever you want to. This is TMI, to be honest, but yeah.
That's why I asked and you answered. But no, what a fantastic answer. Such a simple thing, but it can have such a great response. Just ask out your seniors for coffees, listen to them, and I think that can be so helpful. Anyone else, Anand, Niharika, anyone of you has anything to add to this?
Oh my God, I forgot the question. Great answer. I was like, yeah, what he said, I love Dravid. Like my head like went somewhere else. Sorry.
I mean, it was at the workplace. How do you ensure that there is collaboration between older and younger folks?
I just think mutual respect. I feel like most generations think we know better than the other. I just feel like we all have so much to learn. I think from my parents or like older generations, I really learned discipline and like having the drive and putting in the hours. But from Gen Z and like my generation, I learned that you can put in the hours, but also get some sleep. You don't have to not sleep at all and put in the hours. And yeah, and I also learned that motivation is not the only fuel, discipline is. And that's something that I'm trying to apply, and that I get from my parents and like grandparents. But Gen Z is cute.
Also, I would like to add to that. Sorry. Yeah, it goes vice versa. Even seniors, they have to acknowledge the juniors because there's so many things to learn from them as well.
Agreed.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
because their attitude, their approach, their fearlessness, it's something that you can't match it at your level. When they come, you see that fire in their eyes, in their belly. That's something that you can learn from them, and also, as I mentioned, as she rightly mentioned, it's mutual respect. So it is important and pivotal, these aspects.
Yeah, and to keep that fire burning, we can take a few tips from our previous generations. You know what I mean? We come in with a fire, but I feel like they can help us add more fuel to it. While taking little fuel from us, also add it to yourselves.
I love the
Guys,
collaboration
we're
that's
doing
happening on the
something.
stage right now. It was like, okay, I get it.
We're doing Jugalbandi. Shreyas, you go now.
No, but I love, Anand was actually speaking about this earlier where he spoke about reverse mentoring. You want to talk about that? I thought it was such an interesting concept.
Yeah, no, so I was talking about it in the interview outside, but largely exactly what Shreya said, the respect has to be the other way around. And in today's world, there is, with the digitally native Gen Z who have just grown up living and seeing Instagram and internet and all of that, there's so much for the senior folks to learn. So reverse mentoring is largely where you catch up with the young Gen Zers or an individual mentor and learn from them as to what's happening, what motivates them, what's going on tech, and how can the company change.
Fantastic. Do we have time for
One last
One
question.
last question.
One last question. Anyone quickly? Yes, please.
So hello
She said
everyone.
quickly, and we had a quick.
So just adding on the similar lines that you guys are discussing now. So everyone here has a experience of leading a team, either Shreyas, either NAVYA. So when you lead a team, basically it's like there are a lot of different people there. Like you have a people from like now the discussion was Gen G and Gen Y. So there are a lot of different people and they all are a different person. So they have a different way of thinking. When you lead a team, so basically they think like that. Somebody has a different way of thinking. Somebody can understand what you're trying to express in a different manner. So how you make sure that you take all of them together? Because sometimes whatever you are doing, other person may think it is right. At the same time, the second person will not think it is right.
Team leaders all over here, Anand, Navya, Shreyas, who would like to go? I think it comes a lot from the previous answer, but if there's any other points that you'd like to add?
No, I think that's what builds the strength of the team, diversity. If everyone had the same thought, then you're kind of, you don't need so many people in the team. So if you can have a team where you have creative experts, somebody who has studied English language and somebody who has studied psychology and somebody who has studied business, that mix will add a lot more value to the team. So you appreciate everyone's point of view and then emerge to something which is something completely innovative and interesting.
Thank you.
All right, can we have a huge round of applause for our panelists?
Can we individually right now have an applause for everyone on this? Navya, for the wonderful work that you're doing. Round of applause for Navya, Shreyas, We cannot wait to see you back in Team India players, Team India jerseys. Big round of applause for Shreyas. Niharika, I hope you always keep finding the happiness in the work that you do. Round of applause for her. And Anand, thank you so much for being that empathetic leader that all of us want to be. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being here.
And thank you so much,
wonderful.
Nikhil, for taking this panel discussion smoothly forward, everybody, and make it really exciting and interesting for
Please
us.
watch out for the report. If you are able to hope, please share it. There's a lot of work that's been put. You know, the group has given an opportunity to the rest of all the corporates, in fact, to learn from the policies. A lot of work has also been put by the Yuva team. We'd love for you to have that and share it as much as possible, and hope you get to learn a little bit from it. I'm going to do a very Gen Z thing to end with, where I'm going to ask for a selfie with everyone. We'll take a selfie with the crowd over here. You all okay with that?
And I'm going to hop in.
Yeah, please feel free to hop in. Just pretend that you enjoyed the session, okay? When you take the picture, just be happy. You know, that's the takeaway, happy.
Or should we put our hands up in the air?
Yeah, please feel free.
Can we all do this? Yeah? The Gen Z thing. Okay?
Madonna, I'm sorry, that is really
Not
not
Gen Z? Okay. Okay, I'm just trying to pretend to be like the Gen Z right now.
Pretend you enjoyed.
We need a group photograph on stage as well. Not with you. Thank you so much, panelists. Please do not leave. Niharika, I know you're rushing for another event, but I would now like to invite on stage Mrs. Vasundhara Patni, founder of Kiro Beauty. We would like to give a token of appreciation on behalf of RPG Group. Can we have a huge round of applause, everybody? Oh, I like that synchronized claps. Everybody, let's go. With the music. It's all about happiness this evening. With me, everyone, let's go. Thank you. No, why did you stop? Come on now. I know you like it. I know you like it. May I now invite Venkatesh, our beloved Venki, to give a token of gratitude and appreciation to our panelist, esteemed panelist. Can we have a huge round of applause as he makes his way up to the dais? some of them want to go. Once again, a round of applause, huge round of applause for our lovely panelists, our esteemed guests this evening, who shared their thoughts about cracking the Gen Z happiness code. Requesting to kindly take your seat. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules and being here. Requesting everyone to kindly wait, the event is not over yet. It's just media and how much they love our esteemed guests. You can see that. But please do not leave. Please do not leave. It now gives me
and spend time with my family, you know. So to be honest, this family is the strongest support system that you will ever have, because they are going to be with you through thick and thin, no matter what. And the friends, I feel this is the best way to have a great set of friends, when you know that they are there with you when the chips are down, and when you're down in the dumps, they are a keeper. So, yeah, I feel this is what I follow whenever I'm under pressure, and there is a lot of expectation.
Such a lovely answer. Round of applause. After hearing you speak so passionately about family and friends, I know I can't be your family, but I'd love to be your friend, Shreyas. I would still love to just ask, because you've been so honest and vulnerable, I'd still love to ask just one further question. Because I was talking about failures, and in your eyes, on a day where you feel you have not performed as well as you wanted to, and you have failed, is there, again, you've spoken of meditation, mindfulness, is there something you do on those days, you know, where you feel like you have let yourself down?
So whenever I realize that I haven't performed to my expectation, I just try to learn what I did wrong. I try to acknowledge, I feel it is important to have self-compassion, where you acknowledge yourself at times. On your achievements, you enjoy tiny occasions wherever you go for practice with your teammates, spend that time, quality time basically, rather than spending, you know, a lot of time and distracting yourself. And I go out for holidays at times to completely unwind myself, as I mentioned to one of my friends over here right now, that when I'm not playing, it is hard for me to watch TV and see other players play. So I like to, play PlayStation on some other sport. I love football, love watching football, and I try to, you know, see to it that I'm completely focused on something else, but not cricket. So this is how I try to cope with, you know, my failure especially. I don't like to call it failure, because you always learn. You keep learning from new things. So either you have strength or there are limitations. So there are no weaknesses.
Love that. What a fantastic POV. And I love what you spoke about.